Describe it as a haunting wail, wail, not whale, and that is when Donna Adelson gets the guilty verdict in her murder trial, found guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder. There's one problem: there were no tears. So, what was really going on? We're about to discuss it all.
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor, the show that never quits. We keep on going like the Energizer Bunny. Got the best guests in all of true crime. And today, a show that's becoming a bit of a staple here at STS, and that is having this man on, the one and only Dr. G Explains. This guy picks up subscribers like Velcro picks up lint. I don't understand it, but I'm happy for the man. There's one guy I'm happy for in this content creator world. It is Dr. G. Maybe a couple others, but it is Dr. G. He is obviously a psychologist, but an expert in body language and body behavior. Dr. G, how are you, my man?
I'm good. Just staying busy, trying to get as many videos out there as possible right now. So yeah, good.
Yeah, and for full disclosure, we're here. We're going to give you our best, but Dr. G and I were both whining off air about how tired we are. Kids, podcasting. Dr. G's got patience.
Yep.
It never ends, and he's got the patience of a saint. Dr. G, one day, are you going to teach me the secret sauce to you picking up bazillion subscribers every 30 seconds?
I'm pretty sure I've explained it to you. You just got to do what I'm telling you to do.
Maybe that's it. I'm a little lazy. But what can I tell you? We're gonna dive into a lot of this body language in just moments. But since Dr. G is a psychologist and a friend, and he and I have already discussed the UFC off air, Dr. G, I mean, overall, I know you're not keeping tabs on every second of this trial the way we are, but I know you did some videos on it. You've got this grandmother now convicted, 76 years old, Donna Adelson, the son convicted. I mean, speak to me about the destruction, the implosion of this family over a murder for hire. What were they thinking, these people?
Well, it sounds like, and I'm actually pretty much up to date on everything, so I think I've got most of the details. But when it comes to something like this, the family had already been destroyed. As soon as you decide to take somebody's life, as soon as you decide to be part of a murder for hire plot, you can't have real relationships after that. Like that, if there was any chance of the family not getting caught, they never could have survived this anyway as a family. So crossing that boundary already doomed their fate, basically. So whether they're in prison or not, they never would have truly made it through this.
That's actually fascinating, to put it that way, to say that the family was already destroyed, just coming up with this plot. And I have to agree, but I never thought of it in those terms. We've got Stephen Webster on our show as a best guest, and he was Dan's post-divorce attorney. We actually have a very interesting video because he tells us there was a deadline for a filing the day that for a very important filing, the day that Dan was killed. But that's just part of it. But he said, I thought this was really interesting. You know, he was close with Dan, and he says that he will always have what he describes as a cognitive dissonance, which is he'll never, like, he knows Dan was murdered, but he can never, like, put it together in his mind that this family would actually hire these hitmen. There are things that are hard for the human mind to put together. And I got to tell you, I was looking very closely every day in court at Harvey Adelson, and he's a scary looking character. And it was still hard for me to comprehend how this all actually happened, but it did. So why is there that cognitive dissonance?
Because unless you are really familiar with psychopaths like I am, unless I'm a personality disorder expert, this is something I do every day. I get a very heavy dose of reality about this constantly. I've been in, analyze people in prisons. I talk to people like this constantly. So I can't help but have that be part of my reality. So it's not that hard for me to accept when things like this happen, because I know that awful people do awful things. But for the rest of us that are normal functioning people that can connect with others and develop relationships, the idea that someone would actually cross this boundary, particularly when you have a pretty good life, just it doesn't make sense in that way. So it's hard for us to make sense of it. But once you realize there's certain people that fall so far outside the norm that they just you'll never fully understand them. I think that's part of it, because that's just so different from how the rest of us function.
Yeah, it's so crazy. By the way, Dr. G's got a jersey of Hamzat Chimaev over his right shoulder, now the champ at 185 pounds in the UFC, for all those who are dying to know what that is over his shoulder. Creative, what is this? Creative, creative chaosify. These are hard to figure out sometimes. To be fair, Donna was probably happy after the hit. I doubt she gave it a second thought. What about that? I mean, I will not forget. We'll talk about this in a second when we get to the verdict, because I could hear that wail coming from her, WAIL, in the courtroom. It was obviously for her, showing no remorse for Dan. But do you think she, I don't know, had any remorse, any second thought, anything along those lines after the fact?
Only after she got caught. So she probably regretted it in that sense. Probably thought it wasn't worth it because she has a price to pay for it, but not as far as the fact that he was dead. Absolutely not. I don't think so at all.
I mean, that blows my mind. So there was never a moment where she was like, wow, I just did something horrible. I took a person's life. She never had like they're Jewish, but she never had a come to Jesus moment, at some point while she was by herself. That never crossed her
That
mind.
seems exceptionally unlikely to me, because that would be the way that a normal person would think about the another human life. Certain people don't see other people as having any value. Like the fact that somebody died would be no different than seeing somebody die on TV, or like, it might be that level of connection. Like you see something awful on TV and you feel like, oh, that's bad, but you don't internalize it like you do somebody. It could very well be like that level of it. So could there be any feeling? Maybe, but I doubt it. Just like the comment a second ago that she was probably happy. Happiness may be a much harder feeling for her to obtain than you might think. Excitement, maybe, pleasure at times, but happiness is actually pretty unlikely for folks like that.
Yeah. And no care about the children. What about that? She's so obsessed. And Phil Markel talked about this in his victim impact statement about her sunshines and her loves who are grandchildren. But she didn't seem to give it much thought in terms of how this would affect their lives. And obviously, it's got to be affecting them in the worst possible ways. I mean, they're caught in the middle of all this. And now their own mother could be in the crosshairs of Georgia Kappelman and Sarah Catherine Dugan. But what about that? Why wouldn't Donna Adelson say, hey, wait, I've got these grandkids that I supposedly love. Let me look out for them?
Because it's all about control. You don't murder the family member of people you love. You just don't do that. So I'm not sure that love is also much like happiness. I'm not sure that love is an emotion that she understands in the same way that we do.
So we're going to dive into this in just a second, and I'll keep scrolling down. So I want to get you guys to get as many questions to Dr. G as is possible. If I were you, I would just close my eyes and listen to Dr. G's mellifluous voice and maybe take a nap, but don't, go anywhere. And before you take a nap, if you fall asleep because of his voice, because it is so soothing, make sure that you please hit that like and subscribe button before that happens. But Dr. G, one other question before we get into it, and then I'm sure I'll have 10,000 more. But Rob Adelson, I sort of, not to pat myself on the back, and I keep saying this, but I said that the jury had made their decision after Rob Adelson's testimony, and according to the jury foreperson, that is in fact what appears to have happened. I mean, they had their minds made up pretty early, but how can you have all these psychopaths, sociopaths, whatever paths, and then have this one guy in the family who is like the picture of empathy and sympathy, comes there. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He literally is an ear, nose, and throat doctor that repairs faces from burn victims and gunshot injuries, things of that nature, doing the exact kind of work that this family inflicted on Dan Markel if you were able to be saved. But how is he so different than the rest of the apples on this tree?
He got lucky that he didn't get those genetics. In all seriousness, there's a genetics plays such a huge part in personality. And when you look at the difference between him providing testimony versus Wendi versus seeing Donna talk and people like that, or watching Charlie talk, it's like night and day. The authenticity that he brings, he just seems like someone who was raised in a very dysfunctional family, and some of us grow up like that. There's plenty of us that have grown up with inadequate, mothers or fathers or siblings, things like that, and that were nothing like. And fortunately, he isn't. What shocks me more actually is that so many of the other family members are so deranged. Usually, it's just a couple of them, but it's more than that.
How common, and I don't ask this for myself, but how common is bad parenting? I mean, how common is it to have a crappy mom or a crappy dad? Because I happen to have two really good parents.
I mean, it's pretty common. I wouldn't have a job if bad parents weren't out there. So, there's no shortage of them. It's hard for me to say because so many of the people that I work with just in a therapeutic way struggle with relationships like that. My own father was not a great guy. I'd chosen to be exactly the opposite of everything that he was like. So, there's plenty of bad parents out there, no shortage.
Yeah. By the way, one other thing, I was on Gavin Fish's podcast last night. Donna was on a game show. Wendi, I believe, was on a game show. Lori Vallow was on a game show. There was recently a story about this guy that was on Family Feud who murdered his wife. You got the guy from now I can't remember. But what's going on with game shows? Do we need to look into game shows and murderers? Why are they all appearing on game shows, Dr. G?
It's the fastest way to get your face out there, at least it used to be. And so, let's not comment on the fact that we're doing this live, but that's the reality of it, is that it's like it's something that's exciting. It's something that it's a way that they can get out there. And you've seen there's tons of celebrities you'll see on game shows as well. So it's just like the first step to get your face out there.
That's when, and Sarah Boone, Diane is telling me, Suitcase Sarah, that murdered a boyfriend in a suitcase, and she was also on a game show. It says it right here. Look at Troublemaker Baker. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It literally, all you have to do is lift your index finger and put it back down. It's not that complicated. Please do that. As my kids say, it gets the algorithm chugging.
Yeah.
There was also that serial killer who was on the dating game. That guy, Sarah Boone. What is going on with game shows? This has to be looked into. Someone who deep dives, please deep dive into this and then let me know the answer. But
I'll take a look at this myself. This is pretty interesting. I didn't realize it was quite that much, but you think about something like psychopaths are impulsive. They love constant stimulation. There's other people that do as well, but that's something that psychopaths are impulsive, low empathy, high need for excitement. And so I'm not surprised that what surprises me more, not so much they would be on game shows, but that they live close enough to places to like be on them. That's what shocks me. I guess they could fly in to be on a game show, but
yeah, look at this. M. Morgan, my grandma was on I would stay far away from your grandmother. The Price is Right is dangerous. You know who was on The Price is Right? I just found out. And this goes right to Dr. G's point. Yeah, look, Lori Daybell was on. The dude from Breaking Bad, Aaron, whatever his name is, he was on The Price is Right. Yeah, Aaron Paul got scared. I mean, so maybe, Wendi was on The Weakest Link. I think we've just exposed an entire other show, and I'm glad to hear Dr. G saying he's now going to look at this and he'll let us know what's going on. But all right, so without further ado, we are talking body language and behavior. So this is now Donna having the verdict read to her. Dr. G, as per usual, I will play it out. Wait for you to stop me, and then I'll probably stop it myself because I'll have something to say, and then you'll get annoyed that you didn't stop it, and then we'll go and keep doing that over and over. But here we go.
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Hold on, I got to stop it right there. Like I said, I mean, okay, so this is pre-reading of the verdict.
Yeah,
this is the biggest moment in her life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame that ears continue to grow. What do you just make of this before we get into it? They're about to read the verdict. she looks worried, but you're
Yeah.
the expert. How?
No, that's genuine worry right there. You can tell on the brow that she is worried right now. So she's apprehensive. She's worried. That seems to be some real emotion.
All right, I'm going to play it out. Dr. G, you tell me when to stop it.
Yeah.
If you please can hand the verdict form to the bailiff.
Stop it for 1 second before we get into it, because there's one quick thing I want to point out. You know, and you don't need to rewind, but you can see the blink rates picking up. That means stress. She's also looking at the camera because she's aware of the fact. I mean, think about this. If you were getting ready to be read the fate of the rest of your life, you probably wouldn't be thinking that much about the audience at home. But she is aware of that. She literally glanced at the camera a couple of times because she's aware that she's being filmed.
That's wild. So I got to take that. I want to see. I'm going to take it back a hair here if I can do that. All right, here we go, everybody. The reading of the verdict for Donna Sue Adelson, now a convicted killer.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
All right, let's go ahead and stop so I can review that, because there's just so much there. So there's really two overlapping things we're seeing. Is one, you're obviously seeing this outburst, this sort of histrionic outburst, and obviously anybody's going to feel something when they read a verdict like that, but it's exaggerated. So that's a big theme that we're going to see, is that she exaggerates these emotions. Yes, of course, was she disappointed and upset? Sure, but the volume that she does it, the level that she does it, is an exaggeration. And also, you saw that her hands bunched together and she slams them down. Like, anger is what she's feeling, but she's covering it up with sadness to make people feel guilty. Like, that seems to be her MO, is feel bad for me.
Yeah. Someone asked a question. Did she really think she was going to be acquitted? What about that? You think in her mind's eye, she thought, oh, I'm walking away from this?
It's hard to say. I think that in some ways she was expecting this. I think maybe she thought there was a possibility. I think she was anticipating this verdict, though. That's why, like I said, the shock of it is not, I don't think that much. I don't think there's that much authentic shock in all of this. I think there was some expectation this is how it would go.
Yeah, and by the way, Nikki Cuds is asking me in the chat what Harvey's reaction was, and Harvey didn't really react from what I could tell, at least not initially. I was watching him initially, and he's got this death stare, and he was just looking straight ahead, very stoked. But I'm going to take this back a hair, and we'll watch. And Dr. G's right on the money when he says that blink rate starts going way higher as we get to the moment of truth. I'll take it back a touch.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count two.
Real quick, two things. If anyone in SCS Nation knows exactly what she said, just put it in the comment section. I'll try to find it. It's hard to on camera. It's very hard to tell. But when she said that initial "oh," that just echoed, like it reverberated throughout the courtroom. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, like Dr. G, for me, why was I so uncomfortable hearing that? It was
because she knows people are going to be uncomfortable hearing that. That's why she's acting like she just found out somebody died and it was a shock. Okay. Like this is someone who's acting like they are in mourning. And so it's uncomfortable to be around that. She knows that. She is highly manipulative. So the idea that she's doing this reaction, it is because it's going to make everybody uncomfortable. Imagine if she's thinking there's jurors that just did this to me. I want to make sure that they can't sleep at night knowing that they caused me this much pain. So that's what the goal of all this is. So sure, that's it. Was it authentic? Not particularly. Did it serve its purpose? Apparently, because even if it even got to you, it's not like you were exactly on Donna's side. So the idea that it affected you, it serves its purpose. That's exactly why she's doing this.
Yeah, it was creepy. All right, here we go.
We, the jury, find as follows as the count two of the indictment. conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find
pause it for 1 second. Do you know she looked at the camera again? She's very aware of the audience here.
Oh, that's crazy. Why is that? I mean,
because when you're thinking about, okay, imagine this: you just got sentenced to the rest of your life in prison.
Mhm.
Will you feel devastated? Sure. You will probably just be thinking about how devastated you are. She was, I think, anticipating this to a degree. She knows there's an audience. I just can't imagine, because we don't do anything by accident. Like, if I'm looking at the camera, it's because I'm intending to. And so the idea that she's remembering there's an audience, it reminds her to play it up. We see this a lot, depending on the type of person we're seeing in courtrooms, that glance at the camera. It just shows an awareness of people are looking at me, because why else would she look at it?
Yeah. Love Dr. G. Saw his analysis on his channel. Dr. G Explains. Go sub now. I saw it several times, but did not notice a glance at the camera or the foot stomps. She's great. So she literally, she does stomp her feet at some point, right? Yeah, which is
that's coming up. Yeah.
Okay. So, and by the way, Judge Everett, the reason he was so hard on her is because this comes right off the heels of her saying that she was going to testify, not testify, going to testify, and she really got under the skin of the judge, and he had warned her right before this not to make any sort of outbursts, and she did, and that's why he just jumped down her throat to stop doing that. So here we go.
Follows as the count 3 of the indictment: solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson.
Yeah, you see that stomping? It's just furious, just angry. Like that's what's coming through. She's stomping like that. She's not in mourning. She's not sad. She's pissed off that she's been convicted. Think about how much control she just lost. This is someone that wanted so much control. She had her son-in-law murdered. She took the father away of her grandchildren because she wants control so badly. So to have this much control taken away from her, of course she's going to be really mad.
And Dr. G, let me ask a question. I already know the answer to it. At any point during this time, did she think about Dan Markel and
No. Yeah, just to be very clear. Yeah, not unless it somehow would serve some sort of purpose for her. Certainly not what she did to him. That's for sure.
And just speak about this for a minute. One of the things that Georgia did brilliantly was in the opening and closing. She says, "Don't have this preconceived notion of what a killer looks like, because a killer doesn't have a specific look." I thought that was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a woman who is now a convicted murderer. She doesn't look like one. So what about that? There is no such thing as a look for a killer, is there? It could be anybody.
Absolutely not. But it's having a look like she does. She is very effective at trying to. Well, wait, no. Let me rephrase that. There are aspects of the way that she looks that make you maybe hesitate a little bit. But yeah, her attempts her emotions don't come across as authentic at all. So I suppose it's not effective. But I think that her look and all of that can certainly impact people if they're not preparing themselves to. Yeah, that anybody can fit this look. It's not just some creepy weirdo Brian Koberger looking person,
Yeah. Is it normal for a person to feel sort of empathy and sympathy for her in this moment when they're listening to it? Is
that's what manipulative people do. They exploit your vulnerabilities of empathy. They don't feel it for anybody, but they know that you do, so they're going to use it against you. That's why she doesn't do a very good job with this. If she had more empathy, this would be a little more nuanced and it wouldn't be so ridiculous. And that's the problem with narcissists and psychopaths. They think that if they play things right, it's going to manipulate people the right way because they're used to manipulating people. And it works a little bit, but she overplayed her hand here. And then, at least to me, it just looks ridiculous. There may be some people that are affected by this, but I certainly wasn't one of them.
Wow. Sub Rosa here. To me, this was a tantrum, Dr. G, and the fake crying was not for sympathy, but to make people feel guilty for doing this to her. Makes sense. Yeah. Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes, absolutely.
All right, let me play this out. Lack of tears could be medication. We'll ask Dr. G about that on the flip side. Here we go.
Follows as the count 3 of the indictment: solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson. One moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff will escort you to the jury room.
He is pissed.
Mhm.
This is the paralegal to our right, her left, and the whole trial, she was like the
Mrs.
comforter in
Adelson, while
chief.
this was not the outcome I'm sure that you desired, there will not be any further outbursts in front of the jury. If you cannot control yourself, I am going to have to determine if you will be removed from the remainder of this process. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you need a moment to collect yourself? Before the jurors are brought back in, we will take a brief 2-minute break. Please give her tissues if she needs them.
Well, Dr. G, it appears that there's no actual tears coming down. So what is, I mean, if that's true, what is going on there?
What, like why she's getting tissues, or
Well, what, I mean, just why she's not, why, I mean, she appears to be crying, but there's no tears. So how come they're
she
not
doesn't
actually
feel anything? Like that's why. I mean, it's crying. Like fake crying's hard. There's some people that can pull it off that are really good at it. And somebody said that medications can cause that. So when people actually cry, it tends to be a little bit more subtle. Like I said, you can you have a strong outburst where you cry? Sure. The extent and the length and duration of her outburst right now, that's not consistent with real emotion either. So it's not just the lack of tears, although that one is pretty obvious. It also, it doesn't flow like you see people that have real intense emotions flowing. It's just too much for too long.
We're a tough crowd here. Tracy says, okay, I'm bored. Bring in Wendi cuffed now. That could happen sooner than you think. All right, let me play this out. Here we go. Almost done. Just about done.
Sure.
When the jurors are brought back into the room, does the defense wish to have the jurors polled before they are discharged?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well.
All right, this is pretty much it. Any final thoughts here, Dr. G?
I mean, the shaking, the sobbing, the crying continues on and on. And when the jury comes in, we don't need to watch it or anything, but when the jury comes in, she's looking at them, making sure they're seeing her cry. Even though the judge threatened to remove her, obviously he doesn't, but he would have had every right to, because she did continue to play this up for like half an hour practically.
As part of the tantrum, also fury because she believes the verdict is unfair to her. Is that part of it, Dr. G?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, she knows she did it, so in that sense, it's not unfair. But I mean, she's going to think that anything that doesn't go in her favor is unfair. So I suppose I'd probably phrase it a little differently, but to some extent.
Interesting comment here from Sophie Luce. I don't care if Wendy's convicted. I just want her arrested in jail and fighting for her life for 2 years. And I want Ruth and Phil to have those boys. I'm with you about the boys part. Nettie Daniel, Rodney Akala, Sarah Boone, Donna, Wendi Adelson, Breaking Bad Guy, Family Feud husband, Lori Vallow. The list goes on beyond that. All on game shows. Fascinating. Don't know what's going on there. What do you think of the expression on the face of the attorney presider? That's a paralegal. She has a bit of a smirk.
I mean, I think that for her, I would imagine she's just trying to remain calm and neutral because that's what the judge wants. So I didn't notice the smirk, but I'm sure she's just trying to stay middle of the road.
Yeah, she's like, oh crap, I can't believe I have to sit here and comfort this woman. Okay, here's Harvey now reacting to the verdict. Why is your team babying her? She throws a fit. They get paid a lot of money. It's a high-powered babysitting job. But this is now Harvey and the verdict.
Members of the jury, before I discharge you for this evening, I am briefly going to poll you concerning whether your verdict is unanimous at the request of one of the parties. When you hear your last name, please appropriately.
That's all we have.
Yeah, okay, no, but that's good.
Members of the jury,
looking down, right? There's two reasons we tend to look down. One can be shame, and the other can be a feeling of defeat. So this is more along the lines of body language that I would expect, even from I I would expect Donna to do what she did. But you would expect that oftentimes when people are read a guilty verdict, that's the kind of body language you see afterwards. Looking down, looking solemn. He looks a bit angry, but he always kind of looks that way.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Oh yeah, there's a photo of him. He is. I don't know. I found him honestly to be disturbing in person, Dr. G. There's something very sinister, for lack of a better term, about him. And there's no way, I do not believe there's any way he did not know what was going on. A family that's this enmeshed, do you think that there's a possibility with and a guy who's as frugal as this guy buying a one-way ticket,
Well, just the financial piece alone, how could she have possibly given or planned to give however much money, without him knowing it? It seems that seems like it seems very unlikely just based on the evidence alone. So
yeah. And by the way, this is true. The jury foreperson who spoke out says that they believe that they have enough.
I saw that.
Yeah, to go after Wendi. So not necessarily for murder one, although she didn't think it was out of the realm of possibility. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And we don't know what they have. What about this? This is her kind of looking at Harvey on the way out. Does anything stand out here other than the fact that she's got those fancy silver bracelets on?
Well, we see sort of an exaggerated attempt to look sad, which usually when you're feeling sadness, it flashes on your eyes, but she just sort of leaves it in this position to make sure everybody sees how sad she is, even if she doesn't actually feel. I mean, there's going to be some element of sadness, but that's not maybe the overriding emotion. But yeah, I think that this is, in my opinion, playing it up a little bit as well.
Yeah. By the way, the deputy on the right is the judge's deputy. She's with him all the time. She's great. The woman on the left is fantastic, but as you can tell, she looks like she doesn't mess around, and she does not mess around. This woman on the left, this deputy. If you, I don't know, chew too loudly, anything, she's coming after you in that courtroom. That's her job. But she is as tough as they get inside the courtroom. So you guys, Dr. G, is it normal that I would check my cell phone on average 43,000 times a day to make sure it was silenced? Is that excessive or no?
Not for anxious people, it's not. So yeah.
Oh, good. All
it's
right,
on brand.
I feel a lot better now. COE, what do we do next here? Can you actually bring it up? Because I think you have to run the next part. Why don't we take a look at Wendi? Why don't we do that? This is now Wendi's testimony this time around, and keep your questions coming in. We'll get them to Dr. G. We'll look at Wendi, maybe a smidge more of Harv, and then we'll call it a morning. And a big, huge thanks to Dr. G for coming on and doing this with us.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, was the defendant, your mother, very angry at Dan Markel?
Before he died?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you hated him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Real quick, Dr. J, if you call someone an STD and it's your ex-husband, are you going to forget that?
No, that's one of the points I was going to bring up, which is that she does oftentimes refuse to recall things or to remember things without looking. And I think that is trying to set up the idea of, oh, I've just forgot, or when something's inconsistent, I couldn't remember, because there's certain things that are said that seem almost impossible that she would forget. I certainly wouldn't forget any of these things. But what you are seeing as you see her brush her hair back, it's a soothing behavior. It's a ventilating behavior. There's lots of nerves in the head. So when we touch our hair, it helps us calm down. So she's doing a lot of things to calm herself down. She also has hesitancies when she's asked questions that she actually really has to analyze to make sure that rather than just answering and providing the first thing that comes to mind, you see her looking up, thinking, trying to analyze to make sure that it's okay to respond the way she is. So you are seeing these hesitancies where when we see people trying to be strategic with their responses rather than just answering. Like Rob didn't do that at all. He just responded, whereas you're seeing something different here.
Super. I mean, that's a great point. Rob just spoke the truth, honestly, from his heart, so he couldn't be wrong. Real quick, a lot of people, and this is a tough angle right here, but a lot of people commented that Wendi physically looked different. And I'm wondering, like whether, there you go, that, her eyebrows were higher up. I did you notice that from trial to trial? I mean, she does look different.
I just think she's getting older. I didn't read too much into that. I don't know if maybe she had Botox or something, but that didn't affect a whole lot in terms of the ability to read her. But yeah, I mean, it's been so long over the course of when all of this got started. I just took that as natural signs of aging or little nips and tucks here and there.
By the way, if you're there's people here who do not know what an STD is, maybe they're overseas. It stands for sexually transmitted disease. So she was referring to him as a sexually transmitted disease. Now, what was interesting too is Donna eventually opted out. COE, I don't know if you can pull that up where the judge was asking Donna whether she wanted to testify. I thought that was really interesting because I make the analogy at that point, Dr. G, when Judge Everett was asking her, are you going to testify? It's, we're at the point, you've got to let me know. It was like she was choosing between a 5-year-old trying to pick between a grape and cherry lollipop. She just couldn't make up her mind. And ultimately she decided not to testify. But what we learned is that evening she had a change of heart, and Georgia actually prepped like 105 or 110 page folder with tabs, the so-called tabs, to cross-examine Donna. So Georgia only slept 3 hours the night before closings because she was anticipating Donna actually taking the stand. Can some delusional people expect people will believe them? That's an interesting question, Dr. G.
Oh, sure. Well, if you've been effectively manipulative, then you absolutely are going to expect that people will believe you. I think that's part of the reason that people like Donna end up getting in trouble is they overplay their hand and they think that they are more convincing than they are, and they think they're more powerful than they are. So sure, they absolutely think that people will believe them.
Yeah, I agree with this. Dr. G is the best guess. Ned Smith, you will know the answer to this. Tab, the soda, it made a comeback for like 30 seconds. Can you still buy Tab at a store? And your thoughts on Tab versus, let's say, Diet Coke? I'm curious. In Europe, see, it's an STI. I don't know what that is. Sexually transmitted something. What is STI? Someone let me know what the I is. But all right, COE, the things you learn on this show are incredibly complex and helpful in life. You could win a game show. You could go on Jeopardy and you can tell the difference between STI and STD. COE?
Him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
She nodded her head.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
And did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
And this was said in an email on February 26th of 2013, correct?
It was.
Approximately 17 months before the murder?
Yes, I don't think it was an email, though. It looks like it was sort of an iMessage.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the dark, to him as an ST?
And I know that's not body language, but like the fact that she'll provide details. She does this a lot. She provides details that are unnecessary to try to deflect a little bit. Oh, this isn't actually an email. It's an iMessage. Okay, it's like that may literally be true, but when she's able to say something true that helps to try to persuade people that the other things that she's going to say are true. So I don't know if she does that intentionally, but that's a tactic people use. I'm going to tell you something true that's off the point, that's not relevant, and that will make me more believable when I tell you lies.
Is there also something there, like, where she's got to show you that she's as smart as Georgia or more? I don't know. Like, that's what I feel like she's trying to compete with Georgia sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. Right. It's look, this person's asking me questions that are dumb because I actually am more precise than they are, and I know more than they do. So yeah, there's definitely an element of that.
Oh, look at this. Hold on. We have breaking news. Ned Smith. No, Tab is not still sold. As Coca-Cola discontinued the diets. I didn't know Coca-Cola made it. They discontinued. Ned, something tells me that you've got a friend named Chat GPT, and you did not know this off the top of your head, because that is not your voice, Ned Smith. How dare you? Okay, COE, let's continue to roll this, please.
Before the murder?
Yes, I don't think it was an email, though. It looks like it was sort of an iMessage.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
COE, say that again.
She actually nods
yes
affirmatively when she says, I don't remember ever saying that, and she nods her head. So she's very much agreeing with what's being said. She does remember this.
COE, take it back a hair so we can watch that. This is just fascinating.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Jibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Jibbers?
Jibbers was just a silly name that...
Very consistently, when she's telling something that's either consequential or not true, she will close her eyes when she's responding. That is very consistent with her. So she'll do this. She'll close her eyes and then start blinking quickly afterwards, particularly when it comes to the really serious stuff. Very, very. So when she starts closing her eyes at Georgia, that's when you know she's getting to things that are of consequence.
And let me ask you, when she closes her eyes, I think I do that to try to retrieve stuff from my mind. Is she doing it to try to pull up?
She doesn't want to see Georgia's reaction. Imagine you're saying something kind of embarrassing to somebody, or saying, and you just don't really want to look at their reaction. You might close your eyes a bit when you're saying it and then open them afterwards. It's subtle. It's not like you just keep your eyes closed, but it's just this brief involuntary way to sort of protect yourself, or to try to protect yourself from it. So when she feels she's in danger, she's closing her eyes because she doesn't unconsciously want to see Georgia's reaction to this.
Watch your review of Wendi, and I thought you made a great point, this is Dr. G, about Wendy's slightly open mouth helps slow her breathing. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see her, she has her lips parted and her head tilted pretty frequently. And if you think about, I don't know how much you know about relaxation and
none, zero.
Yeah. Okay. So let me educate you for a second on this then. So there's two ways that we breathe. When we sleep, we breathe using our diaphragm. Just day to day, regularly, we tend to breathe in the upper part of our chest. So, if you tell somebody to take a deep breath and they breathe like that, you do that a few times, you're going to hyperventilate. So if you're feeling really stressed out, if you breathe using your diaphragm, which you can do it, like if you open your mouth like that, you can take it's sort of belly breathing. People do this with yoga. They do this with relaxation. Point being is that there are ways to force yourself to stay calmer, and keeping your mouth open and breathing like that using your diaphragm is one of them. And I think that's what she's doing.
Yeah,
you can see her taking deep breaths. So.
Dr. G, when I lived in DC and I was working for Fox there, I thought I needed to teach myself how to relax. So I took a meditation course, and then I became so hyper aware of my breathing that it made me so uncomfortable that I eventually just quit the meditation class. What's wrong with me?
You're anxious. That's your problem. You sound like your average anxious person, which is, I can't do deep breathing because then I think about my breathing, and then it's harder to breathe. And it's like, that's just anxious people talk like that.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
All right, good.
Sorry.
At least Dr. G makes you feel like you're not the only one who's crazy, but that's what happened with me. And these guys are so relaxed to meditate. I just could never do it. Anyway, all right, let's play it out here.
A friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary. It was nonsense.
Did it reference Jew in boots?
That I don't remember.
It wasn't a friendly name, right?
It was a silly name.
Did you ever say that you hated Dan Markel?
I don't remember saying it, but I certainly could have.
tab 31, please, to refresh your
Oh
memory.
boy.
I said that I hate him in this moment.
Is it? Okay, and did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
And do you agree that email was sent approximately 15 months before Mr. Markel was murdered?
It was in April of 2013.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yes, ma'am. The approach with what I've marked as 56.
There was like an interesting look to me. COE, can you take that back like a minute or less? There was an interesting look. She's known for, like, I think that's it right there, actually. Maybe that's too early, but she, Dr. G, she's known for, like, people call her like doe eyes, and you could tell it was a predominantly male jury. People have even said you get under the quote unquote Wendi spell. I don't think she's looking at the jury box here. The jury box would be the other direction.
Yeah.
But what about that? Trying to manipulate the jury, knowing, you're a female with male jurors. Is there anything to that? I didn't catch her doing that specifically, but I was told that she was doing that.
There are ways that she phrases things that are meant to make her seem more gentle. Like at times her voice goes up and she'll do this, which is a way to seem a little bit softer. So there are things that she does. I don't know if it's specifically to males, period, but I mean, I think it could just be to everybody. But she does do things to give herself that softer edge, or like, well, I'm trying to remember specifically what it was, but there's something that George asked. It was really consequential. I think it was, why didn't you did you call or did you check on your kids after you found out that there was tape on the blocking the road or whatever it was, or something? You know what area I'm talking about?
Yeah, when she's driving by, you're saying?
Right, yeah. And so like she asked, like, did you see how your kids were doing? She's like, no, I didn't. And she said it in a way that was like very much like, of course I wouldn't do that. That's a ridiculous question to ask, but of course it's the only question all of us want to know. So there are times where she deflects using speaking that way.
Yeah. I gotta say, the whole family, they're not dumb people. I mean, they're smart people. Is there something about that? Like, is there an equivalence between intelligence and, like, you need to be smart to manipulate?
Actually, I think it's being smart and manipulative can work against you, because you, like I said, with them, they think they overplay their hands a little bit, so they think they're going to get away with things. They overestimate their capacity there. So not necessarily. I don't think being smart helps you. It can help you be more irritating, in the sense that, like, if you know laws really well and you know how to irritate people and like what you can and can't do, there's things like that can get in the way, but not as far as like the kinds of testimony they're providing. I don't think that being intelligent helps them at all in that way.
Yeah, it's weird. Carm, it's funny. Laura Quigley says master manipulators. Carm has called me that before, and Carm gets annoyed by me. I don't know if there's something going on here. Tillery Mom, Dr. G, can you please create an app we can purchase of you reading bedtime stories, books, or just talking for soothing transition to sleep? You have the most calming voice ever. I would have to agree. He could read transcripts of Joe Rogan calling fights. That'd be cool. And put everyone. You should do this, Dr. G. Have you considered this, Dr. G?
reading podcasts. Yeah, I have had a lot of people have asked me to do some relaxation stuff. I've thought about it, so maybe.
Space Coast is a big Joe Rogan fan, as you can see. COE, are there other videos that we have? Here we go. This is Wendi. It looks coming to the stand. Like, here comes Wendi to the stand. She's not carrying a tab.
If you can just take your seat for right now, I will swear you in when the jurors re-enter the room.
This is obviously Donna making eye contact with Wendi. What
That
is
is
going on here?
That is an odd
believe
facial
even though the
expression. I'm
jurors
actually
indicated
trying
they
to
did not have
decipher
to
it
go to the
myself.
bathroom at this point.
It's almost like
if we are
smile
once
and
again dealing with the
wince at
needs
the
of
same
14
time.
people
Yeah,
that might be in
almost
the
like she's
bathroom. So,
constipated looking.
It's an odd look. It's not one that I've seen much from Donna.
So that's interesting because there's a lot. CO, just pause that there for 1 second. So this is Donna obviously making contact, and then, I totally forgot about this. So, this is Donna. CO, you can rewind it on mute, I think, just so we can look at it while we're talking. But this was an interesting moment because we were all kind of tense in there, saying, "What this is going to be awkward," because we know she hasn't talked to her mom in a while, a long while. They're not getting along, and so we were like, "What's going to happen?" And so we saw that Donna looked right at her here when she walks in. Look at Georgia. Georgia looks real stressed. She's hilarious. She's cracking up. But Donna is looking at Wendi here. But what Wendi does, she doesn't make, as far as I can tell, she makes no eye contact, but she physically, Dr. G, I don't know if we'll see it here, she turns her chair to face the jury to look away from the mother. So what is that? Is that subliminal or intentional there?
I think that's very intentional. I think that Donna puts a lot of pressure. See, I think that this face is supposed to, I really think it's a combination of trying to smile and trying to look like she's in pain. I really think that's what the intent is. And it's just weird because she wants Wendi to see that, because she does, I think, know her audience. And so I think that she wants Wendi to feel bad because she didn't perform well enough at Charlie's trial. So she wants to make sure that she feels the pressure to respond the right way. So that's how I interpret that.
And look at Wendi here, making no eye contact, looking the other way. And at one point she physically moves. Look, she's doing everything to not look at her mom.
Yeah.
What is that about? Is that just not wanting to acknowledge her? I mean,
well, sure. I mean, imagine if your mother had these huge displays of emotion, if there was someone who I could assume she didn't start being manipulative during this trial. I'm going to guess that's been a lifelong thing. So I would imagine it's hard to look at somebody who you know is going to perform for you, who has a way that they want you to feel, and they're going to do something to try to make you feel that way. So yeah, I would probably do the same thing. I probably wouldn't want to look her direction either.
There's this comment here from Dog Treats. Wendi must know she's next on the plank, which is a scary way to put it. But forget Wendi and Donna for a minute. When we were listening to, and you just saw Georgia literally laughing, that happened. I don't say didn't happen a lot, but Georgia just looks incredibly relaxed. From the line of questioning that we just heard about the STDs, about calling them gibbers. I don't know what is. I know you don't know the answer, but what's the sense that you get between the relationship between Georgia and Wendi? I mean, Georgia definitely doesn't like her, and it's not a matter of liking or not in terms of going after her for a crime. But what's the sense you get?
The sense I get is that Wendi is like defensive, like a turtle, in the sense that like she knows that Georgia has her number. Georgia clearly has put pieces together. So I think that for her, the goal is just to provide as little information as humanly possible. So yeah, I think of it very much as a sparring match in that sense, where I think that Wendi knows what Georgia knows. Georgia knows what she knows, and it's just a matter of this tense interplay between the two.
Yeah.
So
I'm on this, Brady Star. Please try to get a woman released from we are trying to get a woman who served hard time to talk about Donna's life in state prison. Dr. G, do you go out? I know you did at one point, but do you go out to prisons still and talk to inmates?
I mean, it's been a little while. I have requests to do that, so I've been too busy to do it lately. But I mean, I still do, but it's been a minute.
How do you think she's going to do, Donna, in state prison?
I mean, she's plays her role pretty well as far as being sort of frail, and she is probably pretty effective at being manipulative. So she'll probably be fine, I suppose, in that sense. She'll probably be able to navigate it okay.
It's interesting because I asked my mother, who's a licensed therapist, and she said, "You know what? Donna's going to be fine in prison." Exactly what you said. She's going to have. She said she's going to have her day planner. She's going to have all the, she's going to control all the women in the pod. She's going to have a schedule for the day, and she'll just find. Carm said that prison is basically like a little microcosm of the world. It's just you're stuck in this horrific place, and she'll find some way to make meaning out of it until she's no longer here.
Well, and you also have to think about people like that do not understand happiness. They don't understand relationships. They just understand control. And so the experience of prison for her would probably be very different than it would be for people that are more normal functioning.
Yeah. Look at this. Georgia gunning for Wendi 100%. I think we have one more video we'll take a look at. I'm not sure. Don. Okay. So this is Don. So this is the medical examiner, and I'm assuming we're not going to see the photos because I was in court. However, in court, you saw the photos. These are autopsy photos. Incredibly disturbing, but this will be Donna at the site of Dan Markel being murdered. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll get a couple more comments in. We'll each have a tab. Have you ever drank a tab, Dr. G?
It's been a minute. I'm not much of a diet drink kind of guy.
Yeah, me neither. If I'm going to do it, I'm going full throttle Coke. I'm an addict. But all right, COE, let's do this. What a beard.
Opinion as to the manner of death.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Homicide.
No further questions.
Cross-examination, Dr. Clark.
No, Your Honor.
Judge, this witness can be excused, and this might be a good time to take our lunch recess.
Very well. Dr. Clark, you may step down, sir. Have a good day.
COE, let's take that back.
Members of the
to
jury,
touch.
we are going to take our lunch break at this point. As you have been previously instructed, I'm just going to remind you again, you are not to discuss this case with each other or any other person. During your lunch break, you may eat together if you choose to. Again, you may converse about any manner of things, but this case. Does everyone understand this instruction? Please raise your hands. And for the record, the jurors have raised their hands. Please return at 1:15. Enjoy your lunch break.
COE, hold that for a minute. So that was her. If we can just go back, this was a very graphic photo, which I won't get into detail about, but suffice it to say, Dan Markel no longer with us, his face swollen, and a gunshot wound. But she can't look. Is that a real look of not looking or a fake look of not looking?
Sorry, with Donna?
Yeah.
No, man. Like she's looking at watching the jury leave to make sure they see her fake crying. I mean, she's wiping non-existent tears off her cheeks and glancing over at them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That was a very. By the way, Ruth Markel always leaves the courtroom when those photos are coming up. Shelley looks down, and Phil Markel actually takes a look. So I don't know how he does that, but I think that COE, is that it for videos, I believe?
Because it
Have a natural reaction, but as best possible, you need to control your reactions concerning any head movements, any expressions of disagreement, or any emotional outbursts. The jury must decide this matter on the merits, on the evidence. Do you understand this? Very well. I do not wish to do this in front of the jurors at all, but it's very important that you are able to control your emotions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does either party need to be heard before we fit, or excuse me?
So she also had a reaction, I think, to it. I don't know if it was to these photos or to somebody else where she started just crying and wouldn't stop. And it was the same kind of performance where it's like she overplayed her hand. I probably just annoyed the jury, honestly, because as humans, we're very good at picking up authenticity. Some of us are fooled by it, but the vast majority of people look at it and just go like, come on, like that's get out of here with that.
Yeah. What? Let me ask you this, just to sort of, using your psychological tools here.
Sure.
Rob's out of the picture. He's estranged, but there seems to be a lot of tension. And this was after Charlie's conviction between Wendi and Charlie. And Charlie was reportedly just interviewed on the phone by a public defender. And that person shared a story.
Yeah.
It seems like the relationship's going steadily downhill.
Yeah.
Do you see any scenario? I've talked to lawyers who say there's really no upside for Charlie here, but do you see any scenario where Donna or Charlie now who are convicted maybe turn on Wendi for some kind
The
of
only reason why not is because that would mean they would have to acknowledge that they were involved, and they're still going to try to appeal it until the end of days. So I don't think they'll ever admit it, because that would end the ability to appeal.
yeah.
So no.
And so one more question about Donna here that you just brought to mind. I mean, do you think that she thinks this is it? Like, I mean, if it was me, I'm like, my life is over. I think I might lose I don't know, my will to live. I don't know.
Yeah.
But is Donna delusional enough to think that an appeal is going to work, that she's going to get out? Does she believe in a future for herself?
I think that is strategic and hoping for that. She's trying to plant seeds for appeal, I'm sure. So does she think that'll happen? I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty strong case that's now over with. So I don't think there'd be a single logical reason for appeal. She probably holds out hope, and she will, even if there's a shred of hope, they're going to hold out for that. There's no way that any of them will ever admit to any part in this at all. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, this is a friend of the Adelsons who testified as these are probably the three worst character witnesses I've ever seen. Three least likable people who got up there and said, "No, Donna's a great person." Tanya here says, "I think that Phil looks at the photos as a way to honor Dan. He'll stay strong and see everything through till the end, and that's a father's unending love for his only son." I asked a question at the press conference to Ruth and Phil and Shelley. I asked Shelley, what would Dan think of the victim? They gave their victim impact statements, which the judge allowed, instead of bringing them all the way down from Toronto for a 20-minute sentencing. So I asked what Dan would say. And at that moment, Dr. G, just to juxtapose to the Adelsons, Phil Markel started to tear up. So this is a family with a lot of emotion and a lot of feeling next to these psychopaths. So it's kind of an interesting comparison.
Well, and that's what frustrates me so much about Donna's ridiculous performances is they're the parents of the victim, and they're able to hold it together. So chill out, Donna. Like, the performance isn't going to work on anybody. So.
Yeah. And speaking of that word, when this was going on in these emails, there's a point where Donna literally says to Wendi, she literally writes, "You've got to put on the performance of a lifetime."
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, doesn't that speak to the whole, just the upbringing of this family? Like, they're performative, like they're constantly doing things to perform for either the cameras or other people. I mean, were they living a reality that wasn't real, I guess, is my question this whole time.
Sure. Well, that's narcissists and psychopaths do. If you are, because they're empty, like happiness, fun, all of those things, they have to fake it all because they don't experience it like other people do. They hate the fact that other people experience it. It makes them angry because they don't feel anything like that. They have this empty void they constantly try to fill with all of these crazy things. Nothing works. They maybe feel pleasure. They may feel moments where they feel good, but never happy, never pleasant, never satisfied. None of those feelings are alien to these folks. So yeah, it's all fake.
Yeah. Final thing here from L. Odom. Donna wears the pants in the family. I'm not so sure. So Carm and my dad passed, but Carm is loud, boisterous. My dad was sort of soft spoken, but my dad had, I would say, equal pull with Carm. My dad just knew how to maneuver it. And I got to tell you, Dr. G, one of the things, I keep harping on this, but one of the things let's put it this way. One day I was at the Metro Deli and Harvey definitely knows who I am. And he was giving me a look that actually was a little, it was a little nerve wracking. Let's put it that way. It was a look like, yeah, I don't want you on this planet anymore. You're ruined. Like, he scares me a little bit. Why is that?
Well, when I guess his intensity, he's someone who's able to, he's actually the opposite of Donna in the emotional sense, where it seems like he's able to keep his emotions fully in check. And that also can be unsettling when people don't have natural levels of emotions. He seems to be very flat, at least from what I've seen. And that can be unnerving. So yeah, I'm not surprised that can be chilling because it feels like somebody's just staring right through you.
Yeah. And people apparently saw him at the airport. He was going back, I guess, to Miami Beach because now he's a bachelor, and he was apparently overheard on the phone, and apparently he was talking to Charlie at one point and Donna just in the airport, and was kind of running the show from the airport terminal. But I thought that was really interesting. Here, Wendi appeared to be a nervous wreck to me compared to her prior testimonies. There's definitely a difference here. This is Donna in the jail. But there's definitely a difference with Wendi's testimony this time around. What do you think that is a result of?
From my estimation, it was some of the new questions that were asked. When Georgia had asked about whether or not Wendi, when she was asked, sorry, let me rephrase. When she was in the police car going to after Dan Markel had been killed, and she basically said that she remembered in the car that she had said that she was told she was that Dan Markel had been shot, and she wasn't. We know for a fact she wasn't at that point. So I think there were things that Georgia threw at her that have that she wasn't sure how to navigate, because it was new and it was consequential and meaningful. So I think she got more nervous. At first, she seemed about the same, but as it went on, I think she got a lot more nervous than she usually is.
You know, I was thinking about this, not because of the Adelsons, but Georgia. I mean, that's a very that job. All you're doing is putting away criminals, and you get one criminal who doesn't, who's you hear stories about this all the time. But I'm sure Georgia takes precaution, and is aware of what's happening.
Look,
so,
man, I will say, I mean, with being a forensic psychologist, sometimes we have to determine whether or not somebody's allowed to get their kids back and that sort of stuff. And it can be nerve-wracking to be on the other end of that when you'd say somebody who's a gang affiliated or something could be like, yeah, like they are not fit to watch their kids or whatever, So I know what it's like. You got to watch your back sometimes.
Yeah, crazy. It's a good thing Dr. G trains MMA, mixed martial arts. Final question here. I said this about an hour ago, final question. But how soon will we see Harvey on a dating app? I know this is a joke. We all know Donna is good at creating a dating profile. She helped pick Dan out from J-Date. But in all seriousness, Harvey's in his early 80s. This whole family, not that anyone feels much sympathy, is completely destroyed, fractured, as is the Markel family. But what does a guy like Harvey do now? He's lost his son. He's lost his wife. His other son doesn't speak to him, and his daughter is definitely staying away because the lawyer said stay away. So, what the hell's he do now? From J-Date to J-Doc date, Jewish Department of Corrections.
Honestly, that's a great question. Not something I've thought much about. I actually have no idea what he's going to do now. Harvey's probably the person I've spent the least time analyzing of everybody. So I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm surprised the Adelson Institute. I would have been interested to see the Adelson Institute during its heyday. It's just crazy. I mean, this is the final thing I'll say. This is Harvey is seething underneath. I would agree with that. But I mean, Dr. G, just to put a bow on this, I mean, this is a family where they literally had millions and might still have millions of dollars. They have real estate properties. They had this thriving practice, arguably good looking children. Son becomes a periodontist. He's driving a Ferrari. The daughter goes to Brandeis, becomes a lawyer. The other son's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I mean, everything by all accounts appears to be absolutely perfect, and they're plotting a murder, and now everything is completely collapsed. What is what's the moral of this story in your opinion?
That's a great question. I think the moral of this story is that, like, if you have relationships with people with personality disorders, like, just run as far as you can. Don't, if you can learn to identify when people are narcissists, psychopaths, and try to keep your distance. And, I don't know what the moral of this story is, because the problem with the Adelsons is that, like I said, this is all self-inflicted. It's not like anything happened to them. They ruined the lives of countless people in this process. So, the moral of the story for them, I don't know what it is. They're so dysfunctional, it's hard to even provide one. But, just don't underestimate how dysfunctional and deranged some people are just because of the way they look and how much influence they have, I guess.
Yeah, Great point. And I mean, again, Georgia made that point in the opening and closings that, it's a killer doesn't look like anyone. So specifically, so it's not like a killer looks like Ted Bundy. Now, tomorrow night, 7:00, as far as we know, we've got Sprinkler Man coming on. He's one of the jurors. He reached out to us. I was thrilled that he did. I gave him that name. He's a career military guy who described himself as an irrigation technician. So I started calling him Sprinkler Man, and he is now planning to come on tomorrow at 7:00. Now I'm just prefacing this for my own sake. People sometimes get cold feet, especially jurors. So if he were, I don't think he's the kind of guy. The guy was in the United States military, so I think he's going to go ahead and do it. But we're expecting him at 7:00. Dr. G, what would you want to ask a juror about? What would be like a first or second question from you for a juror?
I want to know more about what they thought about Wendi. That's what I want to know. I want to know what their impression was of Wendi and what they found most compelling about her testimony. If there was anything that they found that seemed like it worked in her favor and against her. I'm super curious about. I mean, I think probably everybody's curious about Wendi right now because it feels like the Donna stuff's in the rearview mirror. I want to know how this is going to move forward.
100%. And we're going to ask, we'll find out. Huge thanks to my fellow UFC fight watcher, Dr. G, all around great guy. He's the king of Georgia. And Dr. G explains. Go give him, go hit that subscribe button. He's got about, 50,000 people doing that a day. And I'm not bitter about it at all. I'm happy for him. And Dr. G, you're the man. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Love you, America. Love you, Georgia and Tallahassee. Justice for Dan Markel. We will see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. with Sprinkler Man, one of the jurors, I hope, from the Donna Adelson trial. See you soon.